All right, beautiful rising. Finally get to chop it up with y'all today. So I have a little bit going on. I actually just wanted to get some thoughts off that I was having through the week, and I wanted to make sure I didn't sound too crazy. But that don't sound, got plenty going on. So I think I'm gonna end up like breaking this up. My son got his Go Baby Go-Kart, and I've been so excited to talk about that. Like we haven't had the opportunity to let him play in it besides like when we got it, but the time is coming and I can't wait for him to actually get in it and actually be rolling in it through the neighborhood. That's why I said it's a little bit going on, but we're not too stressed about it. Remember, we lost our favorite therapist, so we did have to get another therapist. Her, if I'm not mistaken, her name is Carson. Naeem dealt with her probably like a week or two ago, and he handled it pretty well. There wasn't he wasn't fussing in her arms or nothing like that. So I figured he'll be okay. But it does still make me feel some type of way losing Sarah as our primary therapist. But God is good. Trying to finish school this week. I'm realizing, I think the other day I said it, but it's like, I'm excited. I get excited about educating myself, but then it's like, if it takes away from like the flow that I have with my kids, or like what I'm learning isn't necessarily gonna benefit my kids, I feel like it'll definitely like equal a better job, better pay, more stability in life. But I also like educating myself in stuff that's going to directly help me in the flow of my children and how I run my household. I like educating myself on all that stuff too. So in being the person that I am that just loves education, I don't necessarily, that don't say school or not, I like it all. A lot of folks would make it seem like they like to learn, but they really don't. That's why I said I feel like they like to be in debt because they keep going to school for a bunch of degrees that won't really benefit them. Or I wouldn't say that. A lot of people, they'll say, some folks, I feel like they go to school and they'll get a degree and they just don't know what to do with it. They don't know all the options that they have with it. So then so then this probably feels that they never get into because they weren't even thinking about using the degree in that sense, in that way. But about to have the summer off and get a chance to figure out what I'm gonna do with myself. I passed classes, but I still gotta do certs, if that makes sense. I know some people in tech, they know exactly what that means. I have not taken any certs yet. I haven't had the time in my opinion, I have not had the time to even study, really get the amount of studying I want to get off. Like a couple of my homies already passed and they was like, yeah, it's not too bad. So it gives me a little bit of hope. So I'm working on that. I just saw a car that I'm really interested in for like $7,000. Probably want to see what the mileage is on it. But everything has been going awesome. That's why I said I don't even know if I'm gonna end up using this video. But everything has been going awesome. I kind of just been staying out the way, kind of laying low. I'm trying to, I'm trying to restructure myself. I don't feel like I've been moving in discipline like I actually need to. Or I'll say I'm really tough on myself. And it's really hard for me not to be sometimes. It's extremely hard for me not to be tough on myself. So I really try to like calm things down and sort things out. So then I'm not on my own head, because I can stay on my own head and be tripping out for no reason. Just because I like to get things done. I like to be organized. I like to be tidy. It was just Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day, grandma, nanny, mom, my kids' other grandmother, their auntie. I'm about to say, do I have aunties? I think I have uncles. I have a sister. Shout out to my big cousins. I'm trying to figure out if I really have any aunties. I'm over here, can't even remember, to be honest with you. But yeah, happy Mother's Day to all my loved ones. These holidays are so strange because I definitely am still in the feeling that most of these holidays are definitely man-made just to force you to spend money on something. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've been learning over the past years, is how to not just be spending money. Have a savings, have a dedicated savings, have money stashed away that you can't touch. Some people got to even go as far as getting certificates to where they're penalized if they try to take the money out. And I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that, because it's some of us that don't know how to not spend money. Therefore, they lock more money up than they're able to spend. That's a smart thing. Know what I'm saying? So then when that year, when it matures and that certificate matures and you get your 3 to 4 grand back or however much you put it away again. That's why I said I feel like this talk was kind of gonna be all over the place until I got home and made dedicated videos for things. But that's what I'm saying. I'm excited for a lot of things for the summertime, just to get out with the kids and do more. I'm trying not to feel like overwhelmed just because like I realize with this life thing, like with a lot of things you will be by yourself. But like I was telling folks, like just because you're alone doesn't mean you have to like not have anybody to talk to, or and I wouldn't say share the burden, but here's how I would say it. If you have no one to talk to, you're eventually gonna cave in and break down and feel overwhelmed and unappreciated. You gotta have somebody to talk to. And if you have no one to talk to, if you don't have a friend that can just listen, it'll tell you it's gonna be okay, or y'all think of like real world how to get out of this situation. Like, cause I feel like I have good friends now. You know what I mean? I have people in my life now. Like they'll sit and they'll listen. But that the thing is, you don't want to overuse your friends, if that makes sense. I hope somebody understands that. You don't want to overuse your friends. You know, like you want it to be a balance. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes they need you, sometimes you need them. A nice little balance, not like pouring all your trauma over the top of their head. And then it's like, yeah, that's what I'm going through. And like, I'm just going to pour it on you so then you can feel it too. No, you know, that's what I say, like, that's the wrong way of doing it. That's the wrong way of doing it. I'm like, damn, is that me? Was that a beam of light? What is, you know what I'm saying? It'd be weird stuff going on. But yeah, it could be really hard. That's why I said, like, and a lot of this is borderline just trying to stop you from becoming depressed within yourself. And some people don't know how to handle that. And it's understandable. But that's why I'm saying, like, you need to have somebody to talk to. You need to have somebody in your corner. That's why I say, like, my dad feels like he's in my corner. Not saying that he's not, but he can feel like he's in my corner, and I still feel like I don't have anyone to talk to. That's why I said, like, and I guess another way I'll say it is, like, my old man can acknowledge that he himself is probably not the best suited person for me to talk to about certain emotions and certain feelings. And I respect it to a point, if I'm being honest, because I feel like parents really need those type of social skills or communication skills with their children to help understand the family dynamic. If you don't have anybody in your family that can give you the real, I feel like you're already like losing that battle in my mind. Which is kind of hard to say, but then you get that energy of like, man, it was folks on the outside of my family that was more willing to help me than the folks that's in my family, than my actual blood. And that's what you're really trying to stay away from. Like, you might not be able to stay away from it, but that's why I said you can always help yourself by having these extra resources that you can use. That's why I said, like, colleges have therapy. I think they were charging like $10 a session to see a therapist, which is really affordable. And you got to remember, like, therapists, like, they're licensed not to speak. So after they talk to you, nobody else gets spoken to. Like, I mean, in the real world, maybe a spouse, but a therapist, they're legally not supposed to be speaking on your business to nobody else. That is not the case when it comes to your raggedy friends or your raggedy homegirl that you think is on your side, or your homies that you think is for you. Like, but then your business still end up in the streets. Your business still end up across the school. Your business still end up across your bus lot. Now everybody know your business. When you could have went to the therapist, when you could have just went to the therapist, paid the therapist, got your thoughts off, and then went about your business.